So you're right that a low libido is a common side effect of SSRIs, these antidepressants we've been talking about that work on the serotonin system. And in some studies, the estimates are as high as 20%. Other studies have a bit of a lower percentage, but in any case, it's a common, frequent side effect. And for people who have a strong desire to have a sexual aspect to their romantic relationship, which is very common. Maybe most people in a romantic relationship would like there to be a sexual component, unless perhaps one or both partners is asexual. And so it can be devastating for a relationship to lose the more visceral drive to want to be with your partner sexually. In the book, we try to just make the point that we shouldn't normalize or pathologize any particular level of libido across the board, because it depends on the values and the needs that are present for any given couple. So in some cases, one partner might have a very strong libido and the other partner might have a naturally lower libido. And in some couples, this mismatch can create quite a lot of tension. And so we propose this hypothetical case where a person might be taking a drug to treat depression or anxiety, let's say, and they might be taking a drug that isn't one of these SSRIs, but is a different type of drug. So we talk about, I think, NDRIs, which are norepinephrine, dopamine reuptake inhibitors. And these tend not to have the same kind of sexual side effects. So I think one of the trade names is bupropion, or Wellbutrin is the trade name. Bupropion is the name of this drug. And so suppose you're taking this drug to treat your depression and it's not lowering your libido, but you're in a situation where actually maybe you would like to have a lower libido. Let's suppose that your partner has tried to raise their libido by whatever means to try to meet your level, and all those methods haven't worked. Well, one possibility is, you ask your doctor, can I switch from this drug I'm taking to treat depression that doesn't have side effects, the NDRI, doesn't have sexual side effects, I should say, to an SSRI, which at least has a decent chance of lowering your libido. And suppose that you take this drug and it works, and you still have some libido, but it's lower than it was before, and maybe it's similar to your partner's, and in some way you're now synced up, and you can imagine anyway, hypothetically, how that could improve this particular relationship. So we're not suggesting that that's generally the case. And when you talk about trade-offs, between dealing with depression, taking a drug, whether that's something that's going to work for you or not, and, potential effects on your sex life, it's going to be a case-by-case analysis where you have to think, what really are the side effects for you of this particular drug? Have you tried non-drug mediated ways of dealing with problems, whether it's depression or problems in your relationship? And then how do you see those trade-offs play out for you and your partner? And, the broader theme of the book that we're just trying to raise is when we take drugs for depression or for other issues in psychiatry, we shouldn't just be thinking about how these drugs affect our symptoms of depression, let's say. We should be thinking about the effects of these drugs more generally on our social relationships, including our romantic partnerships. And a sort of obvious case here is that, SSRIs are known to have a pretty high chance of negatively affecting libido, or lowering libido, I should say. But they can also have effects on higher level processes, like the extent to which you might be inclined to care about your partner's feelings. And so that's something where there's a bunch of case studies suggesting that happens in some cases, but it's not systematically studied. And so we think if we're going to continue to prescribe these powerful drugs that can affect our sex drive, that can affect our emotional life, we have to be alert to the side effects on relationships, not just on individuals. And then when we do that, we have to then couch those side effects within a value structure that applies to a given relationship and decide whether having a higher or a lower libido is better or worse for that particular couple, if that's one of the likely effects of the drug. And so then you take all of that into account when making a decision about whether you want to take a drug to address depression, or whether in some cases it might not be worth it given the negative side effects for your relationship.